So instead of giving you specs, PR nonsense, or sucking up to the brand so that I get invited to Watches and Wonders, I'm gonna give you my unbiased takes. I am definitely tired of this sucking up to the brand's nonsense. Go read any watch publication, Hodinkee, Revolution, GQ for all I care. Like, it's just, this watch release was great, this watch release was great. None of, and I mean none of them, provide any constructive criticism. This was terrible, this was not good. Because I'll tell you what, there were a lot of watches that were terrible, and you know what I'm talking about. The only negative review I saw was from Nico Leonard.
This is a message for the CEO of Bremont, Davide. Nice to meet you, my name is Nico.
And guess who they really don't like coming Watches and Wonders? Oh right, Nico Leonard. I have a massive problem with this because as a collector, when I'm trying to buy watches, I'm trying to look for unbiased takes, and you literally cannot find them on the internet. And truth be told, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. The watch blogs on the internet, some of the influencers are in bed with the brand, so you're never getting an unbiased take. And speaking of hiding stuff, I'm getting into the new Santos Dual Time. So from a glance, this thing looks phenomenal. It's got an awesome sunburst gray dial, it's got a dual time function, which I personally love because it harks back to the original point of the Santos, which was a pilot's watch. But as I said, a lot of these brands hide stuff, and this Santos is no different. So to find the actual movement they use inside this watch was hard to find than an O.J. Simpson guilty verdict. It's just not gonna happen. I looked at all the publications, and every single publication, it's an automatic movement. It's not in-house, but in this case on Oracle Time, they said that Cartier is choosing not to make this movement public. Excuse me, this is an over $9,000 watch. If I'm gonna spend that money, I better know what goddamn movement's inside of it. Then I finally do some research, and I talked to some friends in the community, and a lot of them told me it's a Sellita SW330. And do you know how much the Sellita SW330 costs for a brand, or even you to just go and purchase? $350. That is less than a price of a Seiko. I'm by no means saying that brands can't use generic movements. It saves them money, and a lot of the times now in this case, it can save you money. The servicing costs are much easier on the buyer. But the fact that you're charging $9,000 for a steel watch with a dual time function, and you're putting a $350 movement inside that took me an hour to find out, that completely turns me off to the entire brand, because what else are they hiding at that point? What I will say though is Cartier did make some phenomenal movements for this show. In particular, the Mono Pusher Tortue, they made a movement to literally fit inside that case. Why are they doing that, investing all the money to make that? They probably will barely make a profit, and then all of a sudden they're making probably a $1,200 watch that they're charging $9,000 for. I just don't understand that. In the complete opposite direction though, Tudor is just making some phenomenal stuff. New Black Bay 58 GMT and the new Black Bay Monochrome they're calling it are just so great. My Grail watch is the Rolex 1675, and this Black Bay 58 GMT is modeled after the 6542, which I think was the original GMT. A lot of people have not liked the gilt accents, and I 100% understand that, but once I found out that it's supposed to look like these old Rolex GMTs, now I kind of love it. Black Bay 58 Chrome though will be the new Tudor Submariner 1IO. It's going to be its icon. It has the Medas certified movement, and if I'm Omega and I'm taking a look at this watch, what Tudor just released right now, I'm kind of shitting my pants. I'm not even going to lie to you. From a $4,000 watch brand, it's absolutely killing it, to a $4,000 watch brand that doesn't know what they're doing, Bremont. Nico Leonard took the words right out of my mouth, but goddamn, they're doing a terrible job. They just went through an entire rebrand, presumably because they couldn't sell watches, and they just did it even worse than they were already doing. And someone who's British, at least 50% British, is the reason I always suggest Christopher Ward and I never suggest Bremont. And in the last year or two, Tag Heuer's really turned a lot of people into believers, including me. But this Watches and Wonders, they totally missed the bar. And they came out with a new glass box colorway. They came out with that crazy split-second chronograph. Nobody can buy that. I really expected them to come out with, you know, a new Aqua Racer line, some new updated Carreras, maybe a smaller Monaco. And I know these things takes years to develop, and maybe they came out with the glass box and I had no idea how popular it would be, so it's in the works right now, but it's not going to be out until next year. But I just really expected something different, and they just did not deliver. To another LVMH brand, Zenith had like the weirdest show, I think, out of anybody. They came out with arguably one of the ugliest watches I've ever seen come out of Watches and Wonders, and that's not a joke. I love Zenith, but the new Zenith divers are, I can't really put words into how weird they are. I could see how a 40-year-old with a midlife crisis living in Miami with a yellow Mustang convertible would buy this, but to anybody else in the world, I have no idea. I can name 10 watches from Zenith that they already make that are better than this diver for the same price of around $11,000. I do understand, however, how brands need to cater to the masses, and they can't just cater to the crazy watch people like you and me. And guess what? The masses love big and bold, but for me, this just is not it. And speaking of brands that care about the masses, Rolex has done a pretty job. I'm not gonna spend that much time here because everybody knows they made a bunch of really weird stuff that nobody wants, but they made one really clear thing this year is that they only really care about the masses. They don't care about the enthusiasts, and they want to protect their brand image. And at a certain point, you gotta respect that. If you want to shop any of these shitters, but at discounted prices, you could sign up for Bezel and use my $200 discount code. And if you're still here, please watch another. I love all of you. Thank you so much.